What is going on, guys? We are back here for another settings video. Today we are going to be showing you how to set up OBS StreamLabs for recording and for streaming. There's plenty of videos out there for you guys to watch. One of the reasons why I'm doing this one is for the simple fact that I tried all the other videos out there, and some of the settings worked sometimes, some of the settings didn't work. What I wanted to do is find out which setting was going to work for me. So I took hours upon hours to try to set this up, and by far these are the best settings that I found. After tinkering with all the settings and making them my own, these are the ones that worked best for me and my machine. The one thing that you don't hear a lot is when you are watching these videos and you're going through the setting videos with other YouTubers, not to take anything away from them because they're great videos and they help me a lot, was that they don't explain what type of machine they're running. I am running on a custom built PC that I built myself. I run an RTX 2080 Super on an i7 9700K, and it's closed loop water cooled. Along with, I have two SSDs. One's a regular SSD, one is an M.2 SSD, and then I have another hard drive as a backup, an external one for any of the video files that I want to save and hold on to. So with that being said, the settings I'm going to show you, they should work for anybody. But again, some of the settings I have set up here, you may not be able to use depending on what type of graphical hardware you are running. So if for whatever reason you can't record in the same quality that I'm about to show you, then turn some of the settings down. With that being said, let's jump into it. If you have any questions, any comments, if these settings work for you, definitely comment down below. And I read everybody's comments. Nobody is going to go unheard. And let's get into it. So here you have the StreamLabs OBS interface. I'm not going to go over what this interface is in every different panel. One thing we are going to focus on is go down here to the lower left hand corner, which is your settings icon. Once you click here, we're going to be focusing on a couple different areas. One area is going to be the output area, and then the video area. I may touch on the audio area as well, but for now, let's start off with the output area. Now in OBS StreamLabs, this is what it looks like. In OBS Studio, it looks slightly different. So the tabs we're going to be focusing on today are going to be the streaming tab, the recording tab, and the audio tab. So in the streaming tab, I have the output mode set to advanced, and audio track is set at 1. I only recorded one audio track so that the game audio and the commentary audio are on the same track and not split. This makes it easier for me. It's not confusing. Also, the encoder. The encoder is set to what graphic card you are running and how you want to encode the video. So now if you have a, I don't know, AMD 3800X, with 12 threads, 8 cores, you might get away with using the CPU. I'm running an i7 9700K. I don't use the CPU for that purpose. I use the actual graphics card, which actually works out a lot better. Even regardless, if you have a processor that can handle that, I would always just use the graphics card to do all your encoding. I have it set to hardware NVENC new. The reason why I have it set to the hardware NVENC new is because I'm using an RTX card, and the new that's in parentheses is specifically done for the RTX cards to take advantage of the turret technology. I also have the enforced streaming service encoding. Let's try that again. The enforced streaming service encoder settings. I had that box checked. The rate control. There's plenty of different options in here. Make a long story short, keep it on CBR, which is constant bit rate, and never look at it again. The bit rate is most important. Now when you're streaming, if you're streaming to Twitch and you're not an affiliate and you're not a partner, they're only going to allow you to stream using 6,000 megabytes per second. I found a happy medium between quality and performance at 4,500, so that's what I set mine to. You want to set to 6,000, you can do that. You might have a touch better quality, but at 720p and 1080p when you're streaming, it's probably not going to be that noticeable. So I use 4,500. The keyframe interval, I've had this set at 2, I've had it set at 1, I've had it set at 0. I found it best to keep it at 2, so that's where you want to keep it at. Now the preset I have set to performance. You're going to see people that are running a 2080 or a 2070 card, or maybe even a 2080 Ti, and they're going to tell you to put it on quality or put it on max quality. When you're streaming, put it on performance. It's not going to bog down your video card. You're going to get a better stream. The quality is going to be almost indistinguishable between performance and quality, because again, you have to take into account what quality and what resolution you are streaming at. You're streaming at 720p or 1080p. You're not going to be able to tell a difference between quality and performance when you're streaming at that particular resolution. So keep it on performance. That's my recommendation. If you want to change it, but by all means, I keep mine on performance, so you should probably do the same. The profile stands for what designation OBS StreamLabs is set to as far as resources go on your machine. So you want StreamLabs to be set at the highest priority, meaning that you don't want your computer pulling resources to do other things. You want it to focus strictly on the streaming and what you're doing at the time, so that all your resources go to OBS StreamLabs. That's what you want to do. I have the look ahead is turned off for streaming. I have it turned off when I'm streaming like games like Red Dead and things like that. I have it turned on when I'm recording or streaming fast-paced games like racing games, first-person shooters, because it's specifically designed to track fast-moving objects better than having it turned off. Psychovisual tuning, couldn't give you an honest explanation about what it does. There's an explanation on NVIDIA's website, and it's a good explanation, but at the same time, I'm not going to get into what it actually means. Just keep it checked. I only have one GPU, so I keep that at 0. Max B frames, I've set this all over the place. I've set it to 2, 4, 1, 0. I found that having the max B frames at 2 works well for me. You're going to find people that have it set at 1. You're going to have people tell you to set it at 0. I can tell you that having it set at 2 works just fine. But again, try the setting. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, move it to where you think the quality looks best in your stream. So now that that's over with, you're going to go over to recording. Now, in recording, your recording path is whatever you want it to be, whatever folder you want your recordings to go into. The recording format, I have mine set to MKV. I used to have it set at MP4, but MP4 is a highly corruptible file format. It's also very large. MKV is not really that much smaller than MP4, but MKV is less susceptible to corruption. And by corruption, I mean if you're in the middle of a stream or in the middle of a recording, something goes wrong, you'll have part of that MKV file. If you're recording an MP4 and something goes wrong, the whole entire file is corrupted. You lost the recording. All that work you just did is done and over with. So I put mine at MKV. I would suggest you do the same. Audio track, again, the recording is at 1. The recording encoding is set to NVEC new. The rate control is set to CBR again. Keep it on CBR. Don't touch this particular option. The bit rate, this is where you can go a little crazy. I've seen videos where people have it at 60. I've seen videos where people have it at 80. I found a happy medium at 40. Now, when I record, and even when I'm streaming, that particular stream is being recorded as a backup into my recording folder. So you're going to see that my recording quality is slightly different than my actual stream quality, but the bit rate is also higher. So when you're recording, I keep mine at 40,000 megabytes per second. This is going to depend mainly on what kind of machine you're running. Can your machine handle recording at 40,000 megabytes per second, as well as what kind of file size do you want? You want to go ahead and put it at 60,000 megabytes per second? By all means, do your thing. You're going to have an enormous file. The quality is going to look really, 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 really good. But are you going to be able to tell that big of a difference between 40,000 megabytes and 60,000 megabytes? Probably not. I know I can't. So, and you'll see what my recording setting is in a minute. Keyframes, I keep the keyframe interval at 0 when I'm recording, and the preset is set to max quality. Now, the reason why I set it to max quality when I'm recording and not when I'm streaming is because I'm recording it at a higher resolution. So I'm not recording it at 720p. I'm recording it at 1080p. I'm also playing the game at 1440p when I'm doing recording or streaming. So when I'm not recording and I'm not streaming, I'm playing the game at 3200 by 1800p. And I'll briefly get into that probably toward the end of the video on why I do that. Look ahead, I have set to off. Psycho visual tuning, I have set to off. And max B frames, I have set to 0 when I record. Now going over to audio, you want to have this set to the highest bit rate, which is 320. And then the audio bit rate for audio track, I have this set to standard, which is 160. Now, under your video tab, this is where you set your base resolution, which is the resolution of your monitor or the TV that you have set up. Now, don't be mistaken. This is not the resolution of what your monitor or your TV can do. This is the resolution that you are using. Case in point, earlier today, I was recording or streaming rather, starting a stream, and the day before I had been playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm playing on a 4K TV. I had the resolution at 4K. I forgot to change it when I opened up StreamLabs OBS this morning and started streaming. So OBS was trying to take 4K resolution image and then drop it all the way down to 720p, which caused havoc. The image was choppy, it was moving fast, moving slow, it was all over the damn place. It took me forever to figure out why. And I said, oh, wait a minute, I had to change my resolution. So go into NVIDIA control panel, change your resolution to a resolution that you can comfortably stream and record at without using up too many resources. So I found a happy medium at 1440p, and then it downscales to 1920 by 1080, which is 1080p. Now, the reason why I don't record in 1440p is not that I cannot, it's just the file size is rather large, especially when you're recording at 40,000 megabytes per second. You can do that, but as sake of time, when I'm recording and then I have to bring it over into an editor, the amount of time it takes the editor to optimize the video from 1440p is an extremely long time. So rather than do all that, I want to save a little bit of time. I record, have it downscaled to 1080p, because most people on YouTube are watching your video in 1080p, unless you're on a computer that can, stream video at 1440p or 4K. 90% of the people that are watching your video on YouTube are watching it at 1080p or 720p. This is another setting that is highly scrutinized. You'll see people have this setting all over the place. 90% of people keep this at 32. The downscale filter I have set personally to 16. The reason why is because when you have this set to nothing, that means the video is being encoded in its purest form. It's also being recorded in the fastest way possible. You can't really notice a difference depending on what you have your resolution at when you have this set to no scaling. I've had it set to 0, which is the fastest. Then I had it set to 16. Then I had it set to 32. When you have it set to 32, it's doing a double pass across your video. So think of it this way. When you're recording a video and it's being scaled down, your computer is taking a 1440p image, scaling it down to 1080p, and then now it's putting a filter, passing it over twice. That's going to take a lot of time. You're not going to be able to see that amount of time. But when you're recording and you're streaming, time is of the essence. The more time it takes for a video to encode and for a filter to be passed on to your video, then the choppier your video is going to become. I noticed that when I had it set to 32, I noticed a little bit more stutter than when I had it set to 16. So I keep it at 16. The FPS type, I keep it to common, which is what everybody does. And your FPS value is whatever you're playing it at. So I play at 60 frames per second. So that's why I leave mine at. And that's that. I did say I was going to touch on audio very briefly. So I think one thing, instead of making a separate video about it, that you want to do is whenever you're playing as opposed to you trying to adjust the audio of the game and then adjust the audio of the mic when you're doing an edit in a video editor. Is make life just a whole lot easier for yourself and introduce an audio ducking feature into your recording and into your stream. And what I mean by that is audio ducking is going to allow you to speak into the microphone and for the volume of the game to go down and up based upon when you're speaking and when you're not. This way you don't have to go into the video editor and try to fool around and mess with the audio levels. And let me show you what that looks like. So under your desktop audio, whatever you have this set to, you're going to hit the little setting cog. You're going to go into filters. You're then going to go into the add, and you're going to add a compressor. The compressor is what's going to allow the audio to move up and down based upon if you're talking or if you're not. Now this setting is completely up to what microphone you're using, your environment. Is it noisy? Is it not noisy? I'm in a pretty quiet environment. And have a decent mic which has a pop filter in it. So again, completely up to you. I would play around with these settings if you don't like the ones I have. If you do, great. Again, let me know in the comments how these settings work for you. But the ratio I have is set to 3. The threshold is minus 50.1. The attack is 1. The release is 249. The output gain I have set to 0. And the most important is side chain ducking source. This is what you want to have perform the audio ducking. You're speaking into your microphone, so you want your microphone to control whether or not the volume goes up or down. When you're not speaking, the volume stays the same of the in-game volume. When you start to speak, the volume goes down so that you could be heard over the in-game audio. Briefly, the attack setting. This is how fast the audio ducking kicks in. So you want this to be as fast as possible. You don't want this to take a long time because say you're doing a walkthrough video and you're trying to tell somebody, oh, there's a secret room over there, and this is set to a high number. What's going to end up happening is that you're going to speak, the audio ducking is going to take too long to kick in, and that person might not hear what you're trying to say. The release is how fast the volume goes back up once you stop speaking and how fast it goes down. So I have it set to 249, which is a happy medium for me, and that's that. I'm going to go through briefly the settings I have on my microphone. I do have a couple filters set up here. It's the same thing. Click on the audio, the settings cog, go to filters. You notice I have 3 filters here: a noise gate, a compressor, and a gain. The noise gate is probably the most important out of these 3. Now what this is going to do is this is going to cut off the mic when you're not speaking, and then kick back on the mic when you are speaking. Now again, this is completely dependent on what microphone you're using and what environment you have set up. I personally have it set to 30 and 25. So when I stop speaking, you're not gonna be able to hear me breathe. You'll probably hear very limited background noise, and this is what that sounds like now. I just took a breath and you couldn't even hear it. That's what you want to happen. You don't want to stop speaking and then the person on the other end is hearing you breathe, which you find a lot when you are using a headset mic. That happens a lot. Used to happen to me all the time. And the attack time I have set to 25, hold time I have set to 200, and release time I have set to 150. The compressor just really regulates your voice so it doesn't sound all over the place, up and down. So feel free to use these settings as well. I have my ratio set at 5, threshold at minus 20, attack at 3, release at 60, and output gain 0.1. You don't need anything here, so just leave that at none. The gain I have slightly set to 0.5. And other than that, you just want to make sure that the noise gate is the very top of the filters. So this matters. Where you have these located depends upon the order of operation in which they're going to kick in and start to work. So if you have the noise gate set at the bottom, it's going to be the last filter to kick in. You don't want that. You want the noise gate to be the first one because that's the most important one. Just keep that in mind. And remember I told you in the beginning that about playing in 13 or 3200 by 1800p. So I'm on a 4K TV. I did it mainly because of real estate and to to be honest, 4K monitors that are, you know, 32 or 43 inches are just way too expensive for my wallet. So I went and bought a decent TCL 5 series 4K TV. It's awesome, and I can't say enough about it. So I noticed that playing demanding games like Red Dead Redemption, Control, even to set a course of Competition, having it 4K, you had to jump down some settings. So you lose a little bit of visual quality. What I found that was playing at 3200 by 1800p, even though it's not a standard resolution, you cannot tell a difference between the 4K image and an 1800p image at all, unless you're playing on a very large TV and you're sitting pretty damn close to it. So I keep mine at 1800p when I'm playing and I'm not streaming and I'm not recording. I'm probably going to make a separate video about that, about how I keep certain games at that resolution and some of the settings that I use when I play those games. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably be in the next video. Other than that, what you're going to see now is I am going to come back and you'll see gameplay that was recorded from today's stream of me playing Red Dead Redemption 2, recording it at 1080p with the settings that I just showed you guys in OBS. Again, that's not something you normally see in these type of videos. They normally keep it short and sweet, but I wanted to show an example at least of, hey, this is the machine I'm running and this is the result of the settings that I'm using. So you guys can see that it's not just a setting and I go back and change to something different. This is a setting I use now. Going forward, I'll be using every day. So hopefully you liked the video. If you do, definitely comment down below, shoot me a like, shoot me a subscribe. Again, nobody goes unheard. And if you're like me, you do this in your spare time, just know it's going to be a long road to get started and to get good. I'm only at 48 subscribers on YouTube. I'm trying to make it to 100. So if you guys can give me a shout out to help me do that, that'd be great. And just keep it going. Be positive. Never let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. And at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do. And you are the one who controls your success. All right. Check you later. See? Damn, bro. That's right, get off my boys. Oh boy. Let me go, son. Man. He kind of strong.
Come on, pretty boy.
Damn.
Really, boy? You can't be the bestest. Knock his head off. You okay there, Arthur? Yeah, I got this son of a...
I'm good, I'm good.
Making a real fool of yourself.
Okay, okay. Let me go, big man. Come on, bro. You don't get up off of me, bruh. Come on. Now I'm about to kick your ass. Done yet, punk? Huh? Huh?